Yo, grace and peace, guys. It's Kdubtru here, back again for another video review. Before I start this video, I just want to thank all the people who subscribed to this channel. Thank you for listening and watching, even those who are listening live now. Hey, grace and peace, guys. Um, Make sure you like this video now. Give it a share. Um, Continue to support, man. It's very needed. If you want to see people hear more theologically rich content, man, I need your help. I need your support. What I'm doing now is also starting a YouTube membership. So hey, if you can be so kind to even join, as you can see, just click down below. You'll see the join. Anything helps. I would greatly appreciate that. So to the regularly scheduled program. um, I saw a video floating around. Many people were have the thoughts to share, and that's great. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have already responded already, but this guy seems to be not seems to be controversial these days. Lecrae, Christian rapper. Man, this is like my third Christian rapper I've done video critique I've done in like the last week or two, so it's pretty crazy. Let you know kind of the state of Christian rap right now, but he gave his thoughts on abortion, and I thought there were a lot of problematic things that was stated in the video. I'll get to them, but I think there's been I think it seems there's a theological shift um, in Lecrae's theology. The last few years, especially, but definitely since Rebel for sure. I think he would even admit that. But yeah, I don't want to take too long in the intro, but yeah, the video is about abortion and just his thoughts on that. So let's get into it.
Reality of my body.
Hold on. There we go.
So today I want to talk about something extremely sensitive, extremely personal, and I'm going to try to tread lightly, but at the same time be very honest, and that's abortion. This is a very sensitive topic, and it's sensitive for a lot of different reasons. Let me start by saying this. I'm not a woman. I can never speak to what it's like to have to wrestle with the reality of my body, dealing with the reality of an abortion. I can.
There, right there. I think you kind of see like man, like where he's kind of gone. Right. He says, "Hey, I'm not a woman. I can't really speak to the issue of abortion. What it does to a woman." I think that question becomes irrelevant, or that statement becomes irrelevant if we find out first is it moral or not. And he admits, I'll be honest, he admits that it's not moral. That he's against abortion. He's pro-life. Um, but I think he backtracks a little from he ends up saying, and we'll get into it. He ends up saying he's not the kind of pro-life people, the radical, pretty much people. um, but imagine a man saying, "Hey, um, hey, can't be a father." The people who abandon their children, right? The deadbeats we call them, right? People who abandon their duties as a father, and a woman says, "Well, I don't know what that does to them." The psychological you know thing it can be to have a father, or to be a father, and have children, especially when you coming from a background that you didn't have a good father figure. So I understand why you don't want to be a father. Clearly, that would be ridiculous. Um, Abandoning your children for whatever reason is not a good reason. Um, and so okay, yes, the body does go through things when you have an abortion. That's why you shouldn't do it. That would actually be why one of the things from a practical standpoint, why you shouldn't get abortion. Women who get abortions are more prone to suicide, depression, cancer, all sorts of things. Ultimately, those are my ultimate reasons, but those are even layers of why you shouldn't get. Actually, why I would tell a woman, please don't kill your baby. Um, but I do believe I have a say so in this, even though she's a woman. I don't fall into the the kind of leftist ideology that says, well, if you're a man, you can't tell me what to do with my body. Um, I can't force you what to do to your body, sure, but I believe I can have a moral input, just like I believe you can have a moral input into what I do with my body. Um, and so, yeah, I think right off the start, you kind of see where he's at. And it's kind of going to follow a lot of that same trend. But let's keep going because it's going to be like a 3 hour video at this rate.
Only speak as someone who has, on one side, pushed for my girlfriend to have an abortion, and on the other side, somebody who has strong feelings as it pertains to the unborn.
So he's very clear about, at one point he encouraged his girlfriend at the time to get an abortion, and there's forgiveness. And let me say this: there is forgiveness in abortion. It's not the greatest sin. You, to those listening, if you have had an abortion, let me tell you, there is forgiveness at the cross. Come to Jesus for forgiveness. Amen. So I am not speaking as one as all hope is lost if you've gotten an abortion, um, et cetera, et cetera. So please don't hear me saying that. There is hope for those who have had an abortion. So yeah, let's continue.
Realize that in this political climate, that oftentimes the narrative of voting for many believers, specifically evangelical Christians, narrows down to supporting the lives of the unborn. You know, what I would say,
I don't think so. I think there are a lot of problematic issues that are raised. So I'm not trying to get into all that right here, but I think that's actually the mischaracterization of people that kind of would believe more like Lecrae. But even if that was, isn't that a huge issue? As you just stated, you have strong feelings about pro-life, about abortion, right? So isn't that a huge issue? Whether people can even come into the world to have an opportunity to vote and have freedoms, specifically speaking in the context of America, isn't that a huge issue? I think so.
about that is this. For me, I have a million reasons to be pro-life. And when I say pro-life, I mean a million reasons to care for the unborn. Ultimately, I believe what the scripture says, that I knew you before you were formed in the womb, what the scripture says about your God's workmanship created for things that he's pre-planned, that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. I can go on for reasons why I believe that life is precious, that we should not just simply for the realities of our social circumstances throw lives away. I've written songs about this, good, bad, ugly. I've sat down with Christian leaders who are advocates for pro-life and pastors, and there's interviews online if you look them up. I have spent time working with pro-life advocates and supported many of their efforts. However, I do think that the pro-life movement is nuanced. And so everyone's not the same. Everyone is not outside of an abortion clinic protesting with graphic images. There are pro-life organizations who focus on counseling women, finding them good health care, working with them for adoption.
So I don't like how he actually characterized the people who go out and street preaching in front of abortion clinics as if those people. Okay, so right, you have the nuance in this pro-life movement apparently that you either have people who are saying not to get an abortion with the graphic images, or you have the people that are uh, having relational conversations with people, telling people, hey, these are pointing them in directions with healthcare. I've actually every person. So let me be straight and forward. I've only gone out to an abortion clinic 2 or 3 times, so I'm not even in the camp he's talking about. And I can already know that he's mischaracterizing these people. I don't have an abortion ministry. I've only gone out, like I said, 2 or 3 times to help encourage brothers and sisters due to my schedule. I've never really been able to do that as much as I'd even like to. But nevertheless, I've known many that have resources they point them to. I don't know any abortion ministry that goes out on a weekly basis, monthly basis, and doesn't have resources that people are pointing to, pointing them to. There's thousands of pregnancy centers that people are pointing them to, adoption agencies. I know people there at the abortion clinic that are willing to adopt themselves. So why paint this like nuanced position like, oh well, you either got the street crazies or the people really helping out and pointing them to resources that will actually help these people. I don't think that's fair.
and things along those lines. That is probably more where I fall in line. I would want to see holistic care for young women who are processing the reality of having an abortion.
I think the people on the streets do as well. So I don't I don't think there's a difference in distinction between those two that you presented.
And here's my personal reasons why. So I told you kind of some scriptural stuff. My personal reasons why is because as a young man, fresh out of my teens, I was not financially stable. I was dating a young woman, beautiful young woman. Both of us are not coming from, well-off backgrounds. She's coming from a single parent home. I historically was in a single parent home. She lived in a disenfranchised, marginalized community. We didn't have the financial capabilities to take care of a child. We didn't know what this meant for our future. Also, just realizing that we didn't know what we were doing and we didn't understand, what this even looked like. I was working at a call center, smoking cigarettes, trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. She didn't even have a job. She was in between jobs. So it wasn't a very healthy situation. And let me say this as well. It's not like we're coming from these strong nuclear families who are like, we'll step in and help you take care of this child. Those were not even options for us. And so we're now having to face a reality of, well, what does this mean? Does this mean welfare? What does this even look like? So we're looking at our social background. I mean, we literally had no way to take care of a child. I ended up getting evicted later on that year from my apartment. And so, she ended up having to help her mom pay bills. And it was just a rough situation for us. No advocates stepped forward to help us sort of navigate this. There were no organizations. It was just, we didn't know. We were just looking crazy. And so for that reason
I'm allowing him to share this just for the whole story. So go. I'm gonna let him go ahead.
alone, we saw this as our only option. And that pains me to say that was our only option in our mind. I think that's extremely sad.
Yeah, in your mind. And like I said, I'm not trying to make Lecrae feel guilty about what he did. If he truly is born again. If anyone is truly born again, I do not want to make them feel guilty for what they did. But there were options. Because notice he didn't say anything about I was calling, I was reaching out to people, and there are options. And even if there aren't options, are those good reasons to murder a child? No. Kill a child? No, absolutely not. These aren't good reasons. And I know he's not saying these are, but I do think he's saying, well, we need to understand why it's happening. And like I said, I won't go to that now because he's going to get into that further, so I'll let him continue.
Which is why I'm more passionate about engaging the environments that allow abortion to thrive in, right? If we are, I know some people say, hey, this is just a moral issue and that's all that it is. It's a moral issue, but it's also a social economic issue. It's also an issue of systemic oppression and marginalization. And if you don't address those issues, then you're not going to deal with, what ultimately allows abortion to thrive.
What causes abortion to thrive are none of those issues. It's not socioeconomic. It's not marginalization. It's not oppression. Those aren't why people kill their children. They may be professed reasons, but ultimately it's the wickedness of their own heart. Like he claimed to believe the Bible, right? And I'll give him the benefit of that doubt. Does the Bible say that's why people do what they do? It has to do with the sinfulness of their heart. And if you've been, Lecrae, I don't know, like I said, if you ever done this, but if you ever been to one of those abortion clinics, ask the people themselves why. they're getting an abortion. More than not, the times I've gone, the times I've watched uh, ministry of brothers and sisters at abortion clinics, they're pretty explicit on why they're doing it. Most of the time, it's I don't have time to I don't have time to keep up with this baby. Um, uh, this is gonna get in the way of my career. Um, I just want to. I've literally heard people say, "I know what I'm doing. I'm murdering this child, and I don't care. I don't have time to keep raise a baby. I'm too young." Secondly, if this was just socioeconomic or oppressive, we would see, like, why do rich people still commit it? If that's just the you know okay occasion, why do people who have everything together seemingly still get it? There's celebrities who get abortions. Matter of fact, they come out and they're chanting, "This is my sixth and seventh abortion." They're praising God for it. I've done a video review on that, by the way. So it's not just this. It's guess what, man? My mother was poor, no father around. Already had a child. I was the second child. Praise God that she didn't believe this and gave herself a way out, excuse out. Thankful for many people who still, hey, I did what I did. I'm going to bear the responsibility of now being a parent. Kudos to those people. You know, these aren't layers to abortion. These aren't real reasons. They may be professed, they may be excuses, but you get to the heart of the matter. People just don't want to be fathers. They don't want to be mothers. They want to do their own thing. They haven't gotten into their careers. A child is gonna mess up their life, right? That's generally what I've heard. Like, I don't got the time to do this. I'm still young. I've never heard someone, I'm not gonna say never. Generally, it's not, well, I'm poor, because guess what? You can be poor and still have a great family. You can be poor and still raise a family, have great kids. There's many people who's that's their testimony. Man, we didn't have much growing up, but my mom and dad were there. So yeah, it doesn't. You don't have to be a millionaire to raise a family. To you know, it doesn't take much. At least that's my perspective. I'm not one that says, hey, you gotta have kids in all these programs and all this. I mean, that's not even his background. I mean, he talked about being from this poor background and single parent. Like I said, that's my same testimony as well. So I don't see why these are. It seems like excuses for people who get abortions.
What's up, y'all? This is me, Lecrae. Y'all want to go behind the scenes with me? Y'all want to hear the real conversations, the pain, the hurt, the struggle, all the truth being told and the tea being spilled? Then y'all need to hit that link below. Check out my Patreon page. It's going down.
I say another way I look at it is this, and hear me on this. I know there's a million different arguments and a million different people who want to say, well, you don't know about this, or you're not thinking about this, or you're not thinking about this. I by no means am sitting here telling you I have this whole thing figured out. I'm telling you where I'm at today and why I believe the way I believe today and why.
But Lecrae, if you profess to be a Christian, you profess to believe the scriptures, and I'm thankful to hear you say that. What's what? Why are these caveats? Why these caveats? That's kind of where I'm confused. You started off strong. Yes, I believe the Bible. I believe I'm pro-life. But we also need to understand that why people get I understand why they get them. It doesn't make it right. It's, I mean, guess what? When we value ourselves more than God, we'll come up with all kind of reasons.
Lots of people believe the way they believe today. And if you're going to be angry at them or vehemently frustrated with them, you should at least take time to understand why they think the way that they think, and maybe engage them.
Allow me to presuppositionally address Lecrae's argument from something I know he stands very strongly against. Lecrae spends a lot of time arguing against white supremacy, right? What if I gave my spiel in a nice little studio office, just like his, and great graphics, by the way, great video, great, looks good. What if I gave a sane presentation to him and say, I am against white supremacy, but let's understand the socioeconomic reality of why people become white supremacists. Let's understand the oppression on why, or the pressure why people become white supremacists. I gave all these caveats. Would you really believe that I was against white supremacy? I sure would. So, and I doubt he would either. And I would have a lot of comments saying, Chris, what are you doing? What do you mean? You understand it as if, hey man, we need to be more compassionate to these white supremacists. No, don't be as vehement to them. I think he would have a lot of problems with what I said. And obviously, I'm presuppositionally addressing his views. I don't believe what I just stated. I'm just saying, I don't think he's being consistent with his view of sin across the board.
To help them process your perspective if you have an alternative perspective. But I say that to say this is that, one, we didn't know any other options. No clue. Two,
did you seek them out? I mean, did you talk with friends, family, hopefully older people? Did you seek answers? Or was it automatic? Well, I'm too young. I'm too, we can't afford it. Boom, you're gonna kill it. Kill the child. It amazes me that people are willing to seek answers when it comes to all other stuff, but like with this, they're like, oh, can't afford it. Boom, I'm just gonna kill it. Just, man, I think that's just sad reasoning. Like I said, I'm not trying to condemn people who had an abortions, but there are answers. There are answers. There's many people willing to help. I'm only one man, so I can only do what I can to help those who are seeking an abortion, who are saying there's no way out of this. I'm willing to help, and I know many Christians who feel the same way about abortion as me, and are willing to help. I can guarantee you, if you went to any Christian and tell them, I'm going to kill my baby unless you provide me help, you will have the next help, and you will have help in the next 10 minutes. I'm pretty certain about that. Especially the kind of Christians he's attacking, or saying he's not like, I guarantee you would have help.
We did not have the financial capability to move forward. We did not have the family support to.
There are people who make from. I think you can be generally, okay, I'm in Texas, so I think you can reasonably live off 40 to 50,000. I would actually say lower than that if you live frugal, but keep it safe. 40 to 50,000, I think you can live. Certain cities especially. But people who are always trying to advance in their career always use this as an excuse. There are people who make 80,000 a year and say, well, I don't have the money. My money's not right. And then they're with a partner who's making 60, 70,000. Our money isn't right to have a child. I've heard this with people who make a lot of money. So you can always use this as an excuse if you really just don't want a child.
To move forward. We didn't even know there were other realities. And so you've got to deal with that. That's the circumstance in many cases.
So what do you do when people like, at the abortion clinics, the radicals, as the people with the signs and graphic images who are saying, hey, we'll provide you with all this health care. We'll pay for everything. And they still want to kill their baby, because that's the reality for a lot of people. So what's their excuse? Because it's no longer socioeconomic. It's no longer oppressive. People are willing to help. It's no longer marginalization. There's help for everybody that wants to get an abortion. There's help for. Better yet, why can't we go to the Planned Parenthood and tell them to? Why don't they even tell the people that there are these options? That's a whole nother scenario. But yeah, there are options.
And then now you're also bringing on compounded issues, right? So you're talking about communities and individuals where a brother has just been killed over senseless violence. A mother may be sick and living on, Medicaid, and there's PTSD going on in your world because of maybe some of the things that you've encountered or
Yeah, and those are sad scenarios. Those are scenarios where we should have compassion. But guess what? None of those are good reasons to kill a child, to murder the child, murder the unborn. I agree we should help with those as well. And there's many people who do. There's so many abortion ministries who financially help in these sad situations. But none of those are reasons. They're not valid to why someone should murder their child, their unborn child.
seen. The child's father, may be incarcerated for different reasons. There's so many circumstances that come into play, and you're saying, hey, don't terminate the life of the child. Well,
Yes, that's exactly that's exactly what we're saying. But Lecrae, wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't you agree that those aren't valid circumstances on why someone should terminate their baby? If you say yes, then everything you just said, you agree with the people there with the signs, the radicals. So it's not nuance as much as you want to claim nuance, because everyone would say yes, those are sad situations. We need help with single mothers. Yes, absolutely. Adoption, amen. Financial resources, absolutely. Those things are provided though. Those things are provided.
got to remember that there's all these different issues coming into play for certain individuals that no one is addressing. So what I personally
That no one is addressing. Yeah, wait, yes, there is. People are addressing these issues. Maybe you weren't. Maybe you aren't. I don't know. But people are. Maybe you should get involved with abortion ministry. I know I can connect you with some if you ever watch this video. I doubt it, but um, there are people addressing the issues that you brought up.
believe is that when you begin to address some of those situations and those circumstances, when you begin to say, hey, listen, here's health care for you, so you can now take care of a baby. You know how much a doctor bill for birth and that's another conversation. When you begin to address all these barriers, then you begin to put in the minds of individuals that, hey, this is doable. You begin to present them with
As a person who, like I said, who's gone out, as a person who's watched numerous videos where those options have been presented, I can tell you, man, some people, they made their mind up. And I'm not saying we shouldn't present those opportunities or we shouldn't go out. But I'm saying is the sinfulness of the heart, man. It's sinful. And people will continue to hold on to that because they want to murder the child. Because they want to live their own life. They don't want that responsibility. And so I don't think presenting those options will necessarily reduce abortion. Um, I think some people genuinely go to abortion conflicted, knowing morally it's wrong, and then they meet the people on the street and hey, babies get saved, man. Praise God. But I think there are a lot of people who go to abortion clinic, hateful in their heart, selfish in their heart. They just want to get rid of that responsibility. So, yeah.
options. And some of us will say, well, let's just make it illegal. Murder's illegal. Still happens every day. Still happens every day. Should it be illegal? Yes, murder should be illegal. But what I'm telling you is that if you make murder illegal, as we've seen, it doesn't mean murder stops.
Well, with that case, then nothing should be illegal. I mean, you can present. Well, I mean, stealing. You know, someone could present the same argument. Well, yes, all they saying is true, but it ain't gonna stop people from stealing from you. So what? I can go deeper on that, but I'm not. But yeah.
And so, sure, it may be the right thing to do to advocate for the end of murder, but that does not absolve the problem. It doesn't make the problem go away. You still have individuals and circumstances.
You're right. But the issue, the problem isn't even what you brought up, Lecrae. The problem is the heart issue. The heart is a problem. And so unless we address the heart problem while we're out there on the streets, we're not actually addressing the problem, which is why if you have abortion ministry, if you're addressing this abortion issue without the gospel, you're not getting to the heart of the problem anyway. So yeah, you're right. A lot of people don't get to the problem, not getting to the problem, but the problem isn't what you brought up. The problem isn't that people are poor, not that they're not educated, not that they're oppressed and marginalized. I know you. I know a lot of people don't like to hear this, but it's that they've sinned. They've sinful. They're sinful, man. People are sinful. And this is why we need to proclaim the good news of the gospel.
Where murder thrives, right? So what I'm saying,
Murder didn't just drive in these areas that you brought it up.
what are you going to do about the environments that allow this to continue? And for me, I want to see those environments change. I come from those environments. I work and serve in those environments. And if you just outlaw something, I know for a fact that's not going to be the solution. Not to say you don't outlaw it, but to say, are we thinking critically about what it really looks like to tackle this? And so that would be my.
I mean, thinking critically never got to the gospel issue in your presentation on, I guess, how we stop abortion or abortion nuances. So yeah, there is a difference. It's not just, man. I just don't think you've hit the heart of the issue. So yeah, um, like I said, we can address all those issues, but they're not the heart. They're not the heart issue, as you proclaim that they are.
Mini soapbox on where I'm coming from as it pertains to abortion. Y'all love people, think critically, women. And I didn't even mention the fact that some women, their lives are literally on the line. What do they do in that particular situation? What would you have a woman do if her life is on the line going into labor?
Let me address that real quick because this hits close to home. So let's say a woman, literally her life, like it's either die or I mean die, like die the woman live or the woman and the child die, right? So let me paint it like this, right? You're in a you're a burning building and you're only presented with the option, right? Your wife and your child. You can't get both. You try to get both, everyone dies, right? Um, so you only save your wife. Is that murder? Did you just murder your child? I don't believe so. I believe what you did was rescue your wife. So in the same scenario, if your wife is literally in a life-threatening situation where it's either the baby or both of them, I don't consider that an abortion, but a rescue. You rescued your wife from death. So it's not even the same scenario. And let's be honest, those are like 1% of like reasonable cases of abortions, quote unquote. And so I don't believe those are so yeah, that's what I would tell to that person. So yeah. And in a lot of those cases, they're very tragic. The woman wants the child, but going through with a pregnancy would kill her. So yeah.
Got to choose between her life and the child's life.
So that's pretty much all he has to say. I believe I am thinking critically about the topic of abortion. Um, Biblically, more importantly, we should be thinking biblically about the topic of abortion primarily. Um, so yeah, man. Thank you guys for watching this video. Like I said, leave a comment, like the video, um, Share it out, man. May it be a blessing to you. May my ministry here um, bless you guys. And like I said, I have much more to share with you guys about the direction of this YouTube channel and everything. So, hey, hope it was a blessing to you guys. Grace and peace.